welcome to this podcast today where we're going to be finding out about the security firm GSTS, and here to tell us more about it is the governor, the man who is at the helm of all things to do with it, and that is Gareth Conlon. Hello to you, Gareth.
Hello, Roy.
GSTS, we've got it up on the screen there. Tell us a little bit about the firm. What is, if you had to describe it very simply to people, you and your firm, what do you do?
Okay, firstly, thank you for having me on. Much appreciated. GSTS, we are a UK national award-winning ACS security provider. We offer a range of services from manned guarding, CCTV, patrols, consultancy, car parking, digital innovation, and we offer both public and private sector clients.
Right. I mean, this is the day and age that we live in, that these security is something that's absolutely, we've seen in recent times things that have happened, and obviously you've got to have provision put in place to make sure that you can do the best to prevent something nasty from happening.
Yeah.
So how did you get into all of this?
Okay, it started 16 years old. I joined the army, young, as you can imagine, learning. I was active service Afghanistan at 19 years old, and then I joined the private security sector at 23 after leaving the army. A wide range of roles, cash in transit, door supervisor. I genuinely had a passion for the industry very young, and I learned the ropes off mentors and leaders along the way. And then after joining healthcare security around 10 years ago, I developed a passion for healthcare security.
When you say healthcare security, are you talking about, perhaps maybe being in hospitals and making sure that, that the staff are looked after? Is that what you're getting at there?
Yeah, so GSTS, we provide a wide range of services that include healthcare security. Pride ourselves on being healthcare security specialists. So when you go into the hospital, you get reassured by some security presence. What separates us from others, what we believe in, is the specialised training we give to our staff in the healthcare environment. It is a complex environment, it's a diverse environment, it's a challenging environment, and we believe we have to give our staff the tools to enable them to effectively conduct the duties on these sites. So everything from level 3 accreditations in restraint reduction network, ACT, build, training courses, counter-terrorism courses, awareness courses, leadership courses, site-specific courses in terms of security control room. So we really empower our officers to be able to do the jobs, in a very complex environment. So that's where we believe we separate ourselves from others. We really do invest in our team and individuals, and that has come to fruition in a number of our leadership team where they've started off as officers, and our investment in time, effort, training, they've developed into junior leaders and now into senior leaders as well. And as a director of the business, I'm genuinely proud of the development from our staff.
Yeah, I didn't realise how complex what you guys do. And as I say, you're there to make sure that it's not complex for the end user. It's like I was recently at a conference of ground safety officers, and you think, wow, the things that these guys have got to look out for is unbelievable because of the environment that we live in these days. So from the people you mentioned there about within healthcare and things like that, they don't need that headache of having to worry about that. That's why I would imagine they'll come to people like you.
Exactly. The NHS is under high demand.
Yeah.
And it's important that the clinicians, patients, visitors can concentrate on what they need to concentrate on. Violence and aggression is unfortunately a big factor within healthcare and across the industries, across all landscapes it is. So it's our job to give that reassurance, and we do that by empowering our team to be able to risk adversely conduct their duties to offer a safe environment to all.
Yeah. You mentioned there about, the training and that's obviously a valuable thing. Again, if I can just use an analogy that I heard the other day, that in the prison sector at the moment, years ago, there would be significant training to make sure that the prison officers were up to speed. And these days they're learning it in short time, and they're not necessarily equipped to deal with some of these real high pressure situations. I would imagine from you and your firm, you don't want that. You want to make sure that these people have got all of the tools at their disposal to make sure that they can make the correct judgment and make sure that people are put in a good frame of mind because they feel secure.
Exactly. I think you've framed that really well. It's about not just accepting, say, the annual training or the industry norm or the industry baseline. So again, at GSTS, we look to empower our staff with continual training, on-site training, on-duty training. So we've recently invested in on-shift accredited trainers. The difference between that is that's continual mentorship, leadership.
So when people are in the workplace, you're still training
exactly
them.
That. So whereas, say, it'd be accepted for an officer to go on an annual refresher course, I don't believe that's enough. And we don't believe it's enough.
1 year is a long time. In the way the world is moving, a lot, especially when you're talking about technology and things like that, that's a long time. So this permanent ongoing training, it's almost, that's what you've got to do now, really, isn't it?
You really have. We've got a duty of care to our staff and to our clients. And it's important that you feel confident in your ability to conduct your duties. So it's not just about them annual refreshers or the initial training. It's continual development, whether that be toolbox talks from your staff as a baseline, mentors, assigned mentors, the training, as I mentioned before, the investment in on-site trainers and leadership, and then CPD. So whether that be your IOSH, your NEBOSH for health and safety. And what that does is it gets a risk-adverse nature in your operating as an individual and as a team, understanding the risks involved. But it's okay to understand the risks involved. Where I believe GSTS separates itself is identifying the risk at the earliest opportunity, but looking to mitigate that risk. We are all guilty of having risk assessments in place, and they may be there for audits or they may be there for compliance purposes. But that's, in the nature of work we're in, that's unacceptable. We need to be addressing that risk assessment on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, when anything changes our environment, and looking to reduce that risk overall. Because by reducing the risk, it's the end user, so that could be a member of the public, that could be a visitor to a premises, that could be a patient in a hospital, that could be one of our staff that gets hurt as a result of activities that have not been mitigated. So it's of real importance to me, it's of real importance to GSTS and our team.
I think the thing about the training as well, and this is the key elements of it, is that you don't want to be dealing with a situation. You want to make sure that situation doesn't happen in the first place. Exactly. And that comes about at the on-training, because you're teaching people how to spot where the potential problems are going to come in, and that is the ultimate goal that you want. What about the kind of people that you look for? Are there particular standard, absolute, mandatory qualities that you need in a person before they would come and work for GSTS?
Yes, I think it's really important to have the communication skills and customer service. When I say customer service, I say that as a very broad term. The ability to speak to people is it's an absolute blessing. You know, it really de-escalates situations. But not only that, it isn't just about them situations where things are violent and aggressive. It's about the everyday scenarios of saying hello to truck drivers as they come into one of our sites, getting that rapport with people, or it may be de-escalating situations of violence. So very important to have communication skills, empathy, and an understanding that you are there to reassure people. You are the confidence, you are the point of contact. We have a responsibility, we take it seriously. And every day that we put our jackets on, our uniforms on, we're not just representing GSTS, we genuinely are representing the public and the clients we serve. So we take that seriously, and we always will. Yeah.
I mentioned briefly there about technology. Does technology feature quite a lot in your line of
business? It does, as it does in everyday life. It really is. And it's down to myself, my team, the business, to ensure that we're ahead of the game. So one thing I'm really proud of is the team's ability to extract data from our operations. So it's okay to conduct operations. Everybody does that in terms of service delivery, boots on the ground, and that's great. Where we feel we are progressing as a team and as a business is extracting all the key data from our operational delivery, analysing it and being able to assess it and then risk adversely deliver that. So for example, looking at the past quarter, what are the trends, what are the patterns, assessing that, and then allowing that to go into the operational delivery. So, for example, if you've got trends, so on a Saturday night, for example, you have a hotspot, what are we doing to mitigate that before incidents happen? And as a result of that, that will be a safer environment, safer staff, safer public, but also a more empowered team and a more happier team. You know, we come to work to be safe, and I do take that responsibility very seriously, that our team come to work and they enjoy working also.
And does AI feature within this?
It does. So AI has been a big part of our operations over the last 12 months, more so than ever. And we are excited, very proud to say that we are implementing that into our service delivery through our CCTV.
Can you give us an example? Yeah, I think you were about to do it then, weren't you?
So CCTV, we're looking at facial recognition technology. We've implemented a range of CCTV services from towers to our monitoring centre, and also our data capture as well, using AI in a way where we can review and analyse our past data and predict the future. And that's the key with risk. Looking to predict it in advance to mitigate it. These things don't happen. And I understand there's always going to be a reactive element to security. They always will be. But our jobs as individuals, as a team, as a business, as professionals, is to do our very best to not get to that point.
Yeah. I think one of the interesting things that I've found with your organisation is that it's just a very serious business. I mean, it's a life and death business.
Yeah.
But you still have time to have that good laugh with the crew. There's a great camaraderie that seems to exist within your organisation. Yeah. Is that something that you personally nurture because you want that?
I'd love to take the credit for it, but it's not.
Right.
What I can sit here and say is we've got an amazing team. We really, really have. I sit here proud representing them. I really do.
Yeah.
I've just spent the last few hours having a managers meeting with them, and I kind of look around and go, wow, look how far we've come. What I would say is we're junior as a team, as a business. I don't mean that in age or in kind of experience. I mean that is we're a newly formed team. We're forever learning. We genuinely are, and we're all thriving to learn. We're looking to get better every day, every week, every month. And I know that's a corporate saying. I know it's through around quite a lot, but I don't say it half-heartedly. I genuinely think as an individual, as operators, as a business, as someone who's offering services to both public and private, we do need to improve. So we draw a line in the sand every week, put our medals in the drawer, close them up, and it's the next week, it's the next job. So to give you an example, we've had some real great progress with the team in terms of our ACS scoring, and very proud every year.
ACS, just for the benefit of people who don't know.
It's the approved contractor scheme for the SIA, so it separates providers without it and accreditation for certain security suppliers that meet the standards. You get a scoring basis on that, and one thing that I'm immensely proud of the team is every year we continue to increase that score. And what that does is separates us. It shows a level of operating, and we are at that top level of ACS operators. So we did really great on that. We've renewed our ISO accreditations across the board. We've got internal awards. We've been recognised from the NHS, our private clients, and we're actually at awards evening, National Association of Healthcare Security in November. We have 4 nominations. Again, very proud, but that's great. But it's the next job. I do put that into the team. That amazing. We have to take that breath and say how well we do, how far we've come as a team, but we've got so much more to give, and that's the exciting thing, Roy.
Does the military background feature, is that moulded the way you want the company to be run?
It has. I'm very lucky to have a number of veterans within our workforce, both officer level up to senior management. From an individual perspective, it has moulded my life. I joined the army at 16 years old. I believe I needed it at 16-year-old. It did mould the way I see things, how I look up to people, how I go about my daily life, as in, and again, I'll repeat, trying to get better every day. So I have taken on board the kind of military ethos, the discipline and the standards. So unapologetically, we have a standard at GSTS, and I won't ever go below that. And I say that with, complete, confidence in I'm not willing to drop them standards for anything or anyone. And that's a credit to the team. That's the standard we are, and we will only ever go further on.
We, at the time of recording this interview, we're just coming off the back of this, perceived terrorist, was viewed as a terrorist attack on a train. And we know now things are different in that, and we obviously ain't going to talk too much about it because it's it's an active trial. Yeah. But when you watch something like that unfold on television, when you see an incident, are you thinking about that? What would you do in that situation? Is it difficult for you to turn off when you see something like that?
It is, and having the experience we have within the industry and just as individuals, as fathers, husbands, family men, family people, your first thoughts are with the people involved, the victims of the attack. That's the first thought. And then being in the industry we are is with the people who helped, the bravery of some of them people who got involved. And I know actually Merseyside based, at least one of them.
Right.
And an absolute credit to them people who got involved who potentially or most likely save lives.
Yeah.
But then I do look at the bigger picture, Roy, in terms of the UK as a whole, our policies, our procedures, our risk-adverse practices. Again, when I mention learning, it's not just the team. I'm a big advocate for learning. I'm still in university now.
Yeah.
I'm in my final year of university for risk and security management. My dissertation at the moment is on vehicle as weapon terrorism. So I've got a real passion for learning and understanding on a UK level, on a European level and global. And I just hope that the incoming Martyn's Law will play its part in the safety of our public and the confidence of the UK as well in preventing acts such as that.
I would advise people, if they're not familiar with Martyn's Law, to go and watch us speak. And if you listen to what Fegan Murray has to say, it is absolutely, and she does, I've seen Fegan's speech, it's amazing. And you realise that if it wasn't for that, because she made such a big difference, she drove forward Martyn's Law. Martyn's Law, of course, is named after her son who died at the Manchester Arena bombing. It's incredible in that, and this is you can obviously get that law in. That law eventually will have to be tweaked because, as we've been talking about there, the world is evolving all of the time, and you have to be on top of that evolution really to make sure you're up to speed with it. Away from all of this, you've got a successful business, very, very highly thought of within the industry and that, but you like to give a little bit back. And in the building and we share the same building, your organisation, my studio here, I noticed that you're doing a campaign in the run-up to Christmas to get kind of clothing and things like that for the homeless. Why that? Is there something in the background that makes you think, I want to do something for these people? What's the motivation?
Yeah, I think as an organisation, we have a responsibility. We do. But again, the team, this comes down to our team. It's the drivers from our team to say we want to make a difference. And this has been consistent over the years. It's been a number of charity organisations that we support and efforts in terms of fundraising. So, for example, last year, we had the privilege of being at one of our clients at John Lennon Airport, Liverpool John Lennon Airport, and we participated in a plane pull, which was amazing. I think there was 15 teams.
Was this last year?
Yeah.
I worked on it.
Did you? Great.
We did a broadcast. I was working for a radio station. We did a broadcast.
It was such good fun. And, we entered a team from GSTS.
Yeah.
I'm a competitive
You could have
man.
probably pulled it on your own. How's you?
Well, we won, which was, it made it even better. But we raised thousands of pounds for Elderly Trust. And a great cause. And again, a great day. It's a mixture of different organisations, but all there for the same cause. And even better to come away with a trophy. And he was on TV, he was on radio, and the team had a great day. And, that's just an example of the efforts that the team do. And again, in upcoming, we are collecting clothing items, food items also. And apart from just collecting the donations, we're actually going into the Manchester City Centre to give it to the homeless people, to the homeless charities, to make sure it gets to the end user. It's another example of the team and the efforts across the board. And it's the social value, but again, in Liverpool and in the Northwest and the UK reach, we have a responsibility. We employ hundreds and hundreds of people from across our communities, and we need to give back, and it's something that we will continue to deliver on and enhance over time.
And you probably, with this, what you've got, this campaign you've got coming up, yourself, a lot of ex-servicemen that unfortunately have hit hard times, and, this has got to be a good thing for them, hasn't
it? It has, and again, as I mentioned before, we've got a number of veterans within our workforce. We're an advocate for veterans and the skill sets they bring to our business, and we continue to support veterans in the community. So a lot of people offer a lot of things, but the experience from military service, it gives you that unique aspect of operations and how to deliver, and we need to harness that, and we also need to look after people who have served and ensure we as an organisation can do our utmost to support them alongside the government efforts and alongside other organisations as well. There's a lot of people doing a lot of good things, not just GSTS as a security business. Other security businesses are, other organisations are, but we really have got to pull together, for the cause.
I got it. Well, you know what, Gareth, it's been great speaking to you, and I get the impression that, this is more than just a business to you. What is the thing that you would say doing what you do gives you the most satisfaction?
hand on heart, and again, I'll keep coming back to, it's the team. It's our relentless passion. If I couldn't, summarise it, we get up every day. It's a challenging environment. It's a challenging economic climate. It's a challenging operating climate. Just work in general. But the team come in and we all together drive forward for success. We really do. I look at some of the objectives we have and the high, unapologetically high, our goals and ambitions, but we are driving week on week. And, to see the efforts that the team put in for themselves, are a credit to the family, they really are. As a director of the business, immensely proud. I always will be. But what's great is we're scratching the surface. My critical thinker in me says, I know we've got so much more to give.
Yeah.
As a management team, as an organisation, as a frontline operatives, we have got much more to give. And that's the exciting thing as well. There's much more to come, and I really do look forward to the bright future.
All right. Gareth Conlon, GSTS. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Thank you for having me.